What's up, guys? Welcome back. So I wanted to talk about driving anxiety today, how appropriate that I am in the vehicle. All right, I'm picking up my kids today, and you see this line? You see that? Plus, I gotta wait here another 15 minutes, I think, before it starts moving. That would have been my worst freaking nightmare back in the day when I had my anxiety. It was one thing to have a panic attack, but you're driving, at a decent speed and you're gonna get somewhere. It was another thing to be stuck in traffic, to be stuck in a line like this, whether it's picking up your kids or there's a fender bender way up ahead or whatever it is, or even like a horrible backup on a red light. That's when things got really, really, really bad. So I just kind of wanted to talk about my driving anxiety a little bit, but to also give you hope that you can get out of it. I mean, I'm here, I'm not panicking in this long line. Years and years removed from my horrible anxiety, but you can better believe that back in the day, I would have been freaking the hell out right now. In fact, I would have made sure that I didn't get here early enough to have to actually deal with this. I would have been here a lot later so I could just go right in, grab my kids, and head home. So my experience with driving anxiety started fairly quickly after my overall health anxiety journey, panic disorder started. And it just took one really bad episode in the vehicle of me panicking, thinking that I was gonna have a heart attack while I was driving, to solidify an association that remained with me for a few years before I started to actively break that down with exposure and with some of the techniques that I now show you guys in my videos and in my course and through my coaching. But I'm telling you guys, it was a nightmare. So after that first panic attack in the car, I started to worry about it happening again. And you see, that's the kicker, the anticipatory anxiety of, is that going to happen again? Or, oh my God, I got to drive more than 5 miles, or I got to drive, more than 10, 15 minutes. Am I going to be able to make it to my destination alive? Or am I going to make it on time? Or am I going to avoid it? Or am I going to, turn around halfway? Those are things that I was dealing with pretty much on a daily basis. And I lost a few jobs because of it. One job was a great job, and I resigned from it, told the district manager that I could no longer be a general manager at this place. And yeah, I was a general manager of a sporting goods store whenever I was just 20, 21 years old. And it was a great opportunity for a young buck like myself at the time. But the drive was 45 minutes, and I thought I was dying on the way every single time. Even though I made it there and it would calm down a little bit, and even though I would make it back home and it would calm down a little bit, on that drive, you could not tell me otherwise. I was like, I'm going to die. An ambulance is not going to make it here on time, because I was in the deep woods of East Texas, and it was a 45 commute, no town in between. I was like, they won't even get out here, and that's even if I had time to even call them. I worried about getting in accidents. And a lot of this was my cardiophobia and heart anxiety. I was afraid that I was going to have a heart attack, pass out at the wheel, strike another vehicle, and harm or kill somebody else. And I'm telling you guys, the spiraling didn't stop there. I would then think, oh, and everybody's going to think that I was suicidal and that I tried to take somebody out on my way out. And, are they going to really do a good autopsy and find out that I had a heart attack or a stroke or an aneurysm or something, which caused the anxiety or the accident, excuse me. So I would even go that far. But guys, getting in the vehicle and being in the vehicle more than like 2 minutes, my chest would start to tighten up. Sorry, I'm holding my phone today, so it's a little shaky. My chest would start to tighten up. My breath would get short. Just a lot of tension up here. I would immediately start to rub my chest with my free hand. I would check my pulse. I would grip the freaking steering wheel, white knuckle that crap. I would speed a lot, drive very erratically, trying to get to my destination as fast as I could, alive, right? Alive. I loved to travel back in the day, couldn't really do that anymore, or I refused to do that. So why was this happening to me? Why every time I got in the car, I would start to panic and my symptoms would come out and I felt like I was going to die? Well, I mentioned it earlier. The first reason is that I developed an association, and a lot of you had the same experience. You had a bad episode in the vehicle with a panic attack, or you had symptoms or a lot of spiraling negative thoughts or intrusive thoughts. You got overstimulated. You went into fight or flight. And it was a scary situation. Could have been basically borderline traumatic or traumatic. And that established a fear. It established an association that driving is dangerous. And what we do and what I did, I confirmed it by responding in fear to the symptoms that I was dealing with. So whenever I had the symptoms in the car and I was like, oh, no, please, no. I basically justified that they were needed, and my subconscious is going to do everything it could to protect me the next time I even was opening up my door, right? Or it would try to protect me the night before I had a trip by convincing me not to go or to avoid it or to call in to my job because, you know, we can't make it there on time, or we could possibly die on the way there. So my subconscious and your subconscious is just trying to protect you from something horrible happening in the vehicle, whether it be a medical issue or you getting in a car crash or whatever the main fear you have that's associated with driving. Your subconscious is really just trying to protect you at the end of the day. I just got back home. So the next one, guys, is overstimulation. When you're in the car and you're traveling, you know, at pretty fast speeds, things are going to be flying by. It's going to be hard to really focus on certain things. It can overstimulate you, overwhelm you. There's just a lot going on and you have to be focused. It's kind of a pressurized situation, which doesn't help. But another example of this, guys, of this overstimulation, this is something that really affected me whenever the sun was going down or whenever the sun was rising. I live in these, so you see all these trees. So if I'm driving down the road and the lights going in between these trees, it'll actually create this strobe effect, like a strobe light. Like, except super high paced than your typical strobe light. And I was so afraid that it was going to overstimulate me so much that it was going to mess with the electrical activity in my brain and that I was going to have a seizure on the road, you know, traveling at 60, 70 miles an hour. So that's just an example of being overstimulated by something like light or sunlight, you know, passing in between trees. But guys, anything can overstimulate you whenever you're super anxious and you're highly sensitive to everything that you're seeing and feeling. And the next one, guys, there's a lack of control. And if you have anxiety, one of the reasons you probably have anxiety is because you're trying to control all aspects of your life, your health, your wealth. Tomorrow, you're trying to control something that's in the past that you can't change, right, or fix. You're trying to control your symptoms, which make them worse. Well, you put yourself in a car going 60 miles an hour and you have to be somewhere on time, whether it be your job or school, or you have to pick up your children from school. You can't just leave them there, right? There's an aspect of control that kind of goes out the window, right? And another example of this, which in my opinion was even worse than driving, was being the passenger. Whenever I was a passenger, my anxiety would amplify even more so than whenever I was driving. I didn't want to ask this person to pull over. I didn't want to feel embarrassed or feel ashamed about my anxiety. So the control really was out of my hands at that point, whereas I had a little bit of control still. If I was a driver, I could either speed up or I could pull over and get me some water. Because I was the one that was operating the vehicle. But when you take even more control away from the situation and you're a passenger, things can get even worse. So the control thing, you're in a little spot, you're in a confined space, you can't do your usual grounding techniques. I mean, you do still have some options with like chewing ice or drinking cold water, which I always had that on hand. But you're not able to just walk around without pulling over. You can't go to exercise or jump in a cold shower. It's hard to do grounding techniques while you're driving, and even the mental grounding techniques, that becomes difficult because you have to be focused on the road. Your mind can't just be, okay, 5 things that I can see or smell, or, you know, all those different types of grounding techniques. So that becomes harder. So I just think it's a huge control factor. This is why people have anxiety when they're flying, or they have anxiety if they're on a train, or it really comes down to basically any type of transportation. So control is a big factor here. So the way I was able to get out of it after basically doing nothing but responding in fear was to set up some type of an exposure plan for me. And I, in this situation, took it very slow. And other associations that I had, I would be more aggressive. But with the driving one, I don't know what it was. It really had a hold on me. I took little steps, you know, just getting accustomed to being in the car, driving around the block, then taking it to a small road and then to a highway. And then, you know, then it was like 4 or 5 lane highways or like something like an interstate. And then gradually adding the time, while at the same time communicating with my subconscious and letting it know, even though it was trying to tell me, please don't do this, you're killing us. I had to let it know that things were safe and that we're going to do this regardless. And I'm going to keep increasing the time and the mileage until you desensitize to this situation. So I had to be very, very consistent. Even though I was taking my time with it, I had to be very, very consistent, coming back daily to break this association down. Now, some of you are trying to do your exposure, but the response is not there. You have to challenge these symptoms. You have to challenge these negative thoughts that you're having while driving. Why are we safe? Give context to your subconscious, you know, as to why the vehicle is safe. You know, why are we okay? Why are we going to make it to our destination, right, in one piece? Or why are we not going to have a heart attack on the way to work or to school or to my friend's house? You know, why are we going to be okay whenever we go pick up our children? Give context. Don't just say, okay, calm down, calm down. All the things that you don't want other people to tell you whenever you're having a panic attack, right? Just calm down, just take a deep breath. We try to say the same crap to our subconscious and we wonder why we can't calm down. So give context and set up an exposure plan for your driving. Guys, if you want more help with your recovery process, whether that be from panic attacks, health anxiety, driving anxiety, any form of anxiety, I got you covered with the Lead Anxiety Bootcamp. I'm going to put that down below in the description and in the first pinned comment. It's helping a lot of people. I've been cranking out the reviews. You guys have been seeing them. Be a part of that if you haven't. Do yourself a favor. It's very, very affordable. It's not a super expensive course. I did that on purpose because I wanted everybody to be able to get this and for it to help them, okay? So it's gonna lay everything out, tons of videos, tons of downloadables, including a daily detailed routine, something that you need in place to start giving you some momentum so then you can go out there and start your exposure, something to take the edge off and to help you out. But guys, please check that out. If you wanna do one-on-one coaching with me, you know, whether it's struggling with driving anxiety or health anxiety or panic attacks or whatever associations you have and fears you have, my information for that is down below as well. But guys, I love you all. Subscribe if you're new. Until next time, keep fighting.